Today we have with us Dr. Mohammad Umar, who is the lead trainer of Samvad Mediation Center in Lucknow. So, Mohammad, welcome to our program,
Thank you
16th
so much.
International Residential School on ESDR. I
Thank
hope
you.
you like the environment.
I love it. The campus is awesome, and we are getting a lot of fresh air and also fresh faces to see. So it's reviving. It's an all-round revival. Yeah.
So, one question was you had a very good career option in Delhi. You're working in Bennett University. Prior to that, also, you had a lot of academic experience. You have a PhD in international law. Then, how come, like, you thought of taking a life decision and creating a mediation center and being a full time mediator?
Yes, it has been an interesting journey in that regard. So I had this career at one of the best private universities in India. But what I could see was that we were training the students to become lawyers, and then I could not, see a lot of groundwork happening as far as the impact on the ground level is concerned. As far as my individual efforts are concerned, I was feeling that it was lacking somewhere. So I thought that maybe there can be something better which I can practice as a professional, because in teaching, what happens is that you are only teaching in a classroom. So that's a closed setting where you are there. But when it comes to practice, you are meeting with people, you are having a real life, real time impact in the lives of the people. So I thought that mediation, it is a win-win idea for both the parties. And if I'm able to do that, it would be a great thing for the parties. And one of the things that I realized about myself was that maybe I had that temper to be the mediator. So that motivated me to really go for mediation. So that was the main thing.
Yeah, what are the qualities of a mediator that you find? Because I find you very calm. Like I know you so over a decade. I find you very calm and quiet, and at the
Yeah.
same time you are very good at teaching, right? So what are the basic features that you find a mediator should have, qualities that a mediator should have?
So one of the things that I have ensured that I've not left teaching. So I'm still a trainer.
Okay.
So we still train,
Teacher.
lawyers, students, police officials, doctors, vice chancellors. Also, we have trained. So the teaching still continues in a way. But when it comes to becoming a mediator, like you said, that there were a few elements which I thought suit me temperamentally. And of course, one of the things that you have pointed out, that a mediator is supposed to keep a control on his or her emotions. Because if you get swayed away with your emotions during the time of the sessions, maybe you won't be a good mediator. And most importantly, having that control on your bias, not just the conscious bias, but also the unconscious bias. It can happen for any reason. So being mindful of your bias is something that mediator needs to inculcate. And that is something we are taught in our trainings. And we teach now in our trainings that how do we become neutral? How do we become non-judgmental when parties are sharing some vulnerable situations of theirs? So sometimes you tend to judge the party for some reason. So that is something that we don't do. We don't own the issue. We simply facilitate the parties to negotiate with a free and fearless mind and let them decide the outcome. So if the mediator is able to have that temperament, that sense of neutrality, that ability to give as much space to the parties as it is possible and communicate well with them, be empathetic to the parties. I mean, sympathy is of course different, but if you are able to engage with the parties at an empathetic level, I think that works a lot. And then parties are freely opening up with you, and that is something that we try to do.
Yeah. So where did you train yourself for, to be a mediator, and what can be a career option for the next generation? Because it's not that everybody wants to become a lawyer. Maybe they opt for other career options. So mediation as a career in future, how do you see it in India or in South Asia as general?
I think mediation is the only way out. When you look at any South Asian country, which is a litigious country, and at least a country which has a colonial baggage of British system, adversarial system. So in those places, society has become litigious, while actually in their tradition they were not litigious. They were more towards non-adversarial systems. We had panchayats, we had other community level, programs, Pag, Shreni, Kul, all of this is mentioned in our text as well. So when we had all of that traditionally with us, now since we moved away from that in an adversarial system, what mediation does is it brings us back to our default position, which is to be collaborative in our conflict situation, try to sort it out through some neutral party, and not go to the courts which take eternity to resolve the issue. So this brings me to the point that you asked, that what is the scope of mediation? See, in all these jurisdictions, if we talk about South Asia, the pendency is an issue. The cases are going on for decades. One party is winning, the other party is losing. There's a lot of time, money, investment of the parties. Mental health is getting affected. Their relationships are getting broken. They don't have a control over the dispute. And there's so much other things that happen. So when there is an increasing realization among the people that this is really not working out when it comes to conflict resolution, it is very natural for the parties to move towards mediation. And that is evident in the development of the laws as well. For example, in India, we recently had the Mediation Act. Now, the Mediation Act 2023, it creates the Mediation Council of India. So like we have the Bar Council of India for lawyers, like we have Medical Council of India, now we'll have the Mediation Council of India. And Mediation Council of India will be creating a profession of mediators. Now, all these are signs that mediation is the next thing. In fact, in a lot of sense, it is already happening. People are already resorting to it. It's just that they need to be more aware about it. Otherwise, it has a huge scope.
So you think, connecting it to our theme of decolonizing law and justice,
Yes.
so do you think this is the path towards really decolonizing law and justice?
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. Like I said, that it's a colonial baggage at the end of the day. Adversarial system is happening. It has its own minuses. It's rigid.
Pending cases.
Pending cases, all of that. So, of course, if you can go back, not in the terms of getting primitive, but at least bringing that wisdom back to our day-to-day dealing, where we can look at a conflict from a different perspective. We can look at a conflict from not something where we compete with each other, but rather an opportunity to collaborate and look forward. Because in litigation, what is happening? The parties are always looking backwards. That on that day this happened, you did this to me, and all of that. But in mediation, when the parties are sitting, they are looking for the future, that this is where we would end up if we tend to resolve this. So I think that is the magic of
So it's
mediation.
redefining the idea of justice itself, as we
Exactly.
always see it from, we are getting it from the adversarial or the court system, right?
True.
So we are like rethinking the idea of justice itself,
Absolutely.
right? Redefining it, right?
In fact, let me add one thing to that. In Sustainable Development Goals, the goal number 16 talks about access to justice. So if parties are able to settle, I think that would be a great achievement if we create a culture of settlement. This will not just help the parties, but also reduce the pendency in the courts, because a lot of the cases would get diverted to mediation instead of going to the courts and then lingering there for years.
So it will save the valuable time.
Absolutely.
Also.
For the judges also, and for the parties also, for everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Umar, so much for sharing your experiences. And it's really a tough thing to, amidst your career, you are like, you still said that you are teaching, but still playing a new role of a mediator. None of us could take such challenging tasks. That's what I felt. And none of my friends who are in academia have taken such a difficult step, I would say, difficult life decision. And I congratulate you on this, and I hope Samvad Mediation Center train more and more people in the coming future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It has been wonderful to interact with you. Thank you so much.